I Want to Hold Your Hand is a great example of the Beatles in their first period of songwriting activity and recording. And that is when we think of them more as craftspersons, more as craftsmen than as artists, in the sense that what they're really trying to do is employ a lot of the same formulas they learned from American popular music when they were playing clubs in Hamburg and in Liverpool, covering lots and lots, hundreds and hundreds of mostly American pop songs, taking all of that and trying to create something that would create hits for a kind of teenage rock and roll audience. That's what they were shooting for. They weren't trying to make a big statement about who they are or what they believed or what they thought about the government or God or anything like that, war. I mean, they were really just trying to talk about boy meets girl and in a very most innocent, non-threatening, non-sexual kind of way. And so the song, I Want to Hold Your Hand, is very much a part of things like the girl group songs like Be My Baby or the teen idol things, Venus, other kinds of songs like that that we've talked about. It really is a kind of a teenage romantic market, and that's what the lyrics really go for. Remember the previous Beatles songs, things like Please Please Me, She Loves You, From Me to You, all very about teen relationships, so I Want to Hold Your Hand that way. Interestingly, the Beatles in a lot of these early hits, in fact predominantly, probably 80–85% of the songs are in AABA form, which indicates they knew what that was. They knew how American songwriters had put songs together coming up through the 1930s, 40s, 50s. They'd studied it, they'd taken note of that, they thought of themselves as songwriters, that is, John Lennon and Paul McCartney did. And so this song, I Want to Hold Your Hand, is in AABA form. Each of the sections is not 8 measures in length like it tends to be in some of the others that we've talked about in Tin Pan Alley tunes. In fact, each section, each verse is 12 measures in length, and the middle bridge is 11 measures in length. But they do typically, what we see here is not that much different than what we saw in Somewhere Over the Rainbow, as recorded by Judy Garland. It starts out with an introduction. You get the AABA form, and then there isn't really time for them to go back and do an instrumental verse, so they go directly to the bridge and the verse. So you get AABA, and then a repeat of the BA part of the form, and that brings us in at about 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Most of these early Beatles hits you'll find range from about just over 2 minutes to about 2.5 minutes. That was considered to be the perfect length to get a song on the radio and to have a hit record. And so whatever they did with the form, they had to get everything to work in. So in this case, they could get all of the AABA form in, plus about half of it again. Notice the first time through the bridge, John and Paul sing in unison. But the second time through the bridge, coming back and doing it a different way, and we talked a little bit about this kind of thing when we were talking about Tom Dooley and the Kingston Trio. The second time they come back, they sing in harmony. So when they bring it back, they add a little something that wasn't there before. That keeps the arrangement fresh. In many ways, I Want to Hold Your Hand is American pop with a British accent. So much of it is taken from American pop, from the hand claps that you hear. That could be taken from any number of girl group songs. My Boyfriend's Back is probably the closest, the closest in terms of the actual rhythms they use there. But you know, they're using the Chuck Berry sort of chugging guitars. They're using the Tin Pan Alley form. The harmonies are often sung in sort of Everly Brothers kinds of high thirds and fourths. This kind of arrangement. They got the hand claps. Everything about it really screams rock and roll music, American rock and roll music from the late 1950s and the early 1960s. So you put it all together and give it a British accent and a mop top haircut and collarless jackets and suits. You get the Beatles in late 1963, early 1964 with their first #1 hit in the U.S., the one that really broke open the British invasion.